Okay, good morning, everyone. The committee will come to order. Pursuant to notice, the Committee on Science and Technology meets to consider the following measures. H.R. 2029, the Networking and Information Technology Research and Development Act of 2009. H.R. 1736, the International Science and Technology Cooperation Act of 2009. And H.R. 1709, the STEM Education Coordination Act of 2009. Now, I would like to thank Chairman Lipinski and ranking members, elders, and other members of the Research and Science Education Subcommittee for their work to improve these bills at subcommittee level. And I think we should also, in absentia, thank Jim Wilson. I hope that you will pass it on to him for leaving a good legacy to us, which was certainly improved with our current staff and members. While the subject matter varies greatly, there is a common theme in all three of the bills before us today. They all strengthen an interagency coordination process to achieve a set of goals that no one agency can achieve on its own. In fact, this theme cuts across many of the priorities of the Science Technology Committee this Congress, beginning with the National Nanotechnology Initiative bill that passed the House in February to the National Water Research and Development Initiative Act of 2009 that passed the House by a vote of 413 to 10 just last week. H.R. 2020, the Networking and Information Technology Research and Development Act of 2009, continues to improve and update a program that was originally created by the committee in the High Performance Computing Act of 1991. The NITRD program, as it is known, involves a collaboration of more than a dozen federal research and development agencies for a current total federal investment of approximately $3.5 billion. This may sound like a lot, but the European Union is investing $7 billion over the next 5 years in cyber physical systems alone. To ensure that we make the most effective use of our own resources to remain a leader in these fields, it is critical that these many agencies come together to develop common goals and well-defined strategies for networking and information technology R&D. H.R. 2020 strengthens the interagency strategic planning process, formally authorizes the National Coordination Office that oversees and enforces this process, and requires that a wide range of industry and academic stakeholders have input into the process. Given how rapidly this field evolves, a regular and comprehensive look at the NITRD program by Congress is timely. And I want to thank Mr. Hall for introducing this important piece of legislation with me, and I urge my colleagues to support it. H.R. 1736, the International Science Technology Cooperation Act of 2009, would create a committee under the National Science and Technology Council to coordinate international S&T activities at our federal agencies by bringing together the Department of State and the R&D activities to focus on the international component of national R&D priorities. A similar committee in the 1990s launched some important initiatives, most notably in the area of infectious diseases. It is critical that we don't miss opportunities to leverage our resources against those of other nations to tackle today's greatest global challenges, including energy and water, and to strengthen the contribution of U.S. science and technology to our national security. There's no existing entity whose primary purpose is to look across the federal government for such opportunities, and I commend Dr. Baird and Dr. Ehlers for introducing this legislation, and I urge my colleagues to support it. H.R. 1709, the STEM Education Coordination Act of 2009, would strengthen and elevate an existing committee under NSTC to coordinate STEM education activities across the federal government. When half the world's workers earn less than $2 a day, we cannot compete on numbers. To stay competitive, we must keep feeding the marketplace with new ideas that lead to new U.S. companies and new highly paying jobs. This foundation for this innovative economy is a 21st century skilled workforce. The federal government can play an important role in STEM education at all levels because of the richness of S&T resources at our science agencies. It may not surprise you to learn that our science agencies have little idea what other science agencies are funding in terms of STEM education, and often don't even communicate between offices within a single agency. This is not an acceptable situation. Mr. Hall has joined me in introducing this bill because we agree that agencies need to be sharing best practices with each other, elevating their programs for effectiveness, and generally making more efficient and effective use of taxpayers' dollars. And I want to thank Mr. Hall and the Chair and Ranking Member of the Research and Science Education Subcommittee for introducing this bill with me, and I urge my colleagues to support it. These are three good bipartisan bills that strengthen interagency coordination to all, and as President Obama has said in his inaugural, make our government smarter. I thank my colleagues and staff for their hard work on these bills, and I look forward to improving them and even further with your amendments today. And I now must recognize Mr. Hall, who will soon be recognizing his 49th birthday several times over.
My
39th
39th reunion of my 39th birthday.
And I now recognize the spry Mr. Hall for his.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and I thank you for several reasons. I don't know why I have to thank you, because it's your duty to schedule this markup, but I still thank you for doing it. And whoever wrote this for me thanks you, and that means that all of us on this side thank you. So, and you thank me, and we're all thanked today. It would appear that we're doing a great deal of coordinating, and that's true. In addition to authorizing the Networking and Information Technology Research and Development, the NITR-D program, we're also marking up legislation to improve STEM education coordination among the federal agency, and a bill to coordinate science and technology initiatives that can help foster international cooperation. All of these bills do exactly what this committee should be doing, ensuring that our government is effectively and efficiently using federal science and technology dollars to guarantee we stay on top of cutting-edge research both domestically and internationally, while continuing to develop the best and brightest STEM workforce for our future. I'm pleased to join you as an original co-sponsor of H.R. 2020 and the Federal STEM Education Coordination Act 2020 and 1709. I also want to thank you for maintaining regular order with both H.R. 1709 and H.R. 1736 and giving everyone the opportunity to work on these at subcommittee level first. That's the way you work things out. When it comes to STEM education in particular, I think we're all better served to have Dr. Ehlers involved in the beginning as he begins and brings so much to the table along this line. I know that both of our staffs have worked diligently to get these bills to where we are today, and I look forward to a discussion of proposed amendments. And I thank you. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. We will now consider H.R. 2020, the networking information. Dr. Baird's recognized.
I know you're going to get to important business, but I just want to take the opportunity to share with all the members of the committee who may not know it and lend my personal congratulations. Chairman Gordon won for the 20th consecutive year the Capitol Challenge, a 3-mile race. I think he ran it in 1658, was it?
That was a few years ago. No, it was not quite that this year.
But still, 20 consecutive years, and he certainly doesn't look it, but the chairman is now 60 years old, and this is an extraordinary accomplishment, and I just want to express my congratulations to the chairman. He leads the committee admirably, and he leads the race admirably as well, and with that, I yield back and thank the chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Beard. Well, I may not look it, but I feel it. All right. Now, we will now consider H.R. 2020, the Networking Information Technology Research and Development Act of 2009. I will recognize myself. I think that this bill has been adequately described already in our earlier remarks, and I thank Mr. Hall for his remarks. And also, Mr. Hall made a very good point in his remarks, and that is the regular order of going through a subcommittee process. I think that I'll have to say that I think we've done a good job of that these last few years, and I think because of it, we get better bills. But it also puts work on our subcommittee chairs and ranking members, and I want to thank them for the time. I don't think we've ever called upon our ranking members and our subcommittee chairs to do as much as we have here recently, and it helps us to do a better job. I now recognize Mr. Hall to present any remarks on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I already mentioned that I'm pleased to join you as original co-sponsor, and networking and information technology plays an enormous role in our everyday lives, often in ways we don't even realize. Even more significant, it's of vital importance to our homeland security and to our economy. The legislation is a combination of recommendations from the PCAST report and feedback we received from hearing witnesses and numerous organizations. You know, we have people come here to testify before us, and it takes their time to drive here to wherever they depart from, and they've taken them a lot of years to get capable and qualified to come and give us information, and then they give us their time to be here. So we're very fortunate to have that type of cooperation with the chairman, because the chairman invites them, and they do us a great service. Actually, and accordingly, we draw a lot of our testimony from them, and it finds its way into the bills. So they do a good job for us. And with the addition of the manager's amendment, I think it's a good, solid bill. And however, I understand that a few of my friends on the other side would like to tweak it a little bit more, and I'm sure the chairman's going to maybe allow them to or take a shot at it. But I yield back the balance of my time so they can get underway. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. By the way, I ran the mile. Jim Ryan and I both ran the mile years ago. Together we ran a 10-minute mile. He ran his in 4.
Does anyone else wish to be recognized? I ask unanimous consent that the bill is considered as read and open to amendment at any point, and that the members proceed with the amendments in the order of the roster. Without objection, so ordered. The first amendment on the roster is a manager's amendment. The clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment to H.R. 2020, Amendment Number 019, offered by Mr. Gordon of Tennessee.
I ask unanimous consent that we dispense with the reading. Without objection, so ordered. I recognize myself for 5 minutes to explain the amendment. This amendment makes a technical correction to the underlying legislation. It replaces the term high-performance computing with the phrase networking and information technology. The scope of the original program established in 1991 has expanded beyond R&D and high-performance or supercomputing to include research and development in all areas of networking and information technology. The change in terminology more accurately reflects the breadth of the current program. I urge my colleagues to support this amendment. Is there further discussion on the amendment? If no, the vote occurs on the amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the amendment is agreed to. The second amendment on the roster is an amendment offered by the gentlelady from California, Ms. Woolsey. Woolsey.
Thank you, sir.
And we're glad that you're on bail and with us today. Are you ready to proceed with your amendment?
Mr. Chairman, I am. I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment to H.R. 2020, Amendment Number 132, offered by Ms. Woolsey of California.
Ask unanimous consent to dispense with the reading. Without objection, so ordered. I recognize the gentlelady for 5 minutes to explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to say that Mr. Hall couldn't say my name ever either. So I'm in good company with both of you. You're in good company. Mr. Chairman, computing, networking, and information technology and the innovations they yield are critical to our American economy. Unfortunately, the current education pipeline does not meet the demands of these crucial industries. There are two major challenges that must be addressed if we're going to remain competitive with other countries when it comes to computing. First, we need to get more students exposed to innovative, engaging, and rigorous computer science curriculum at the K through 12 level. And second, we need to ensure that more of these students are girls and minorities. It's only by, underrepresented minorities is what I should say. It's only by increasing the diversity of students, those who are being brought into the computer science fields, that we will be able to fulfill the need for this wide range of jobs. That's why I'm offering this amendment to H.R. 2020, the Networking and Information Technology Research and Development Act. This amendment does two things. One, It requires NIDR-D as part of its required strategic plan to include diversity goals and programs to bring in more women and unrepresented minorities. And 2, it requires the National Science Foundation to better coordinate and expand its education programs in the area of computer science education, with a special focus towards including more girls and minorities. It's clear we need to get more women involved in computer science. In fact, in 2008, only 17% of advanced placement AP computer science test takers were women, even though women represented 55% of all AP test takers. Participation in computer science AP tests among underrepresented minorities has increased in the past decade, but it is still only at 11%, compared to 19% of all AP test takers. Mr. Chairman, these low participation numbers are truly disturbing. We must do more to strengthen computer science curricula and to expose and attract a more diverse population of students to computing at the K through 12 level. This amendment is an important step towards these goals. I urge my colleagues to support the Woolsey amendment, and go girl. And I yield back the balance of my time.
Is there further discussion on the amendment? If no, the vote occurs on the amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it. And Ms. Woolsey, thank you again for carrying out your mission here. You've been very consistent and helpful in that. The third amendment on the roster is an amendment offered by the gentleman from New Mexico, Mr. Lujan. Are you ready to proceed with your amendment?
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment to H.R. 2020, Amendment Number 014, offered by Mr. Lujan of New Mexico.
I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the reading. Without objection, so ordered. I recognize the gentleman for 5 minutes to explain his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My amendment today promotes collaboration between our federal laboratories and higher learning institutions and industry, so that laboratories and higher learning institutions' research and development activities can assist industry's commercial development efforts. Our national labs are making tremendous technological advances every day, and we must take advantage of their discoveries and support their innovative research programs to improve America's economic competitiveness. In my district, Los Alamos National Laboratories has been utilizing supercomputers to analyze the cyber-physical interface for many years. In addition, Mr. Chairman, Los Alamos is at the forefront of modeling our nation's energy grid down to the substation level, and to understand how to better manipulate and control the operating systems and mechanics. Our national laboratories are the world's leaders in advanced applications of supercomputing technology and software. My amendment today will ensure that their expertise and the resources and expertise of our colleges and universities are included in this legislation, and that the United States continues to benefit from their knowledge.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you, Mr. Lujan. Are there any further discussion on Mr. Lujan's amendment?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Hall is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to thank the gentleman from New Mexico for his willingness to modify his amendment to make sure we're not inadvertently missing a potential research breakthrough opportunity. I thank you. And I'd like to ask Mr. Lujan a question. Were you related to Manuel Lujan?
Mr. Chairman, that's an interesting question. I'm actually Lujan on both sides of the family. And the former secretary, former member of Congress, Manuel Lujan, his sister was my second grade elementary teacher. And Mr. Lujan is actually a distant cousin on mom's side of the family, sir.
Sounds like they're from the
You're
South,
from northern New Mexico or from the South. It's something you understand.
I don't really know what you were telling me, but
The answer is yes.
I want to brag on your amendment anyway.
Manny Lujan was respected by all of us. He was a good member of Congress. Is there further discussion on the amendment? If no, the vote occurs on the amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. Are there any other amendments? If no, then the vote is on the bill, H.R. 2020 as amended. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. A Recognize Mr. Hall now for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the committee favorably report H.R. 2020 as amended to the House with a recommendation that the bill as amended do pass. Furthermore, I move that staff be instructed to prepare the legislative report and make necessary technical and conforming changes, and that the chairman take all necessary steps to bring the bill before the House for consideration. I yield back.
The question is on the motion to report the bill favorably. Those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is favorably reported. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. Members will have 2 subsequent calendar days in which to submit supplemental, minority, or additional views on the measure. We will now consider H.R. 1736, the International Science and Technology Cooperation Act of 2009. I recognize the gentleman from Washington to describe this bill.
I thank the chairman very much, and I want to thank my colleagues who've worked very diligently on this, particularly Dr. Lipinski, Dr. Ehlers, Ms. Johnson, and Mr. Carnahan, and as well as that, our committee staff. Mr. Chairman, we have held several hearings on this. As you know, it's an issue I'm very passionate about, as are many in the science and diplomatic community as well. The question really is, how can we use our substantial scientific and technological resources to promote our diplomatic agenda and vice versa? Bud Rock, who is the Vice President for Global Engagement at Arizona State University, has been a vocal advocate of this and defines what he refers to as the 4 Ds of international collaboration: discovery, diplomacy, decision-making, and development. In addition, Norm Newrider, who's been a leader in this field, has said international cooperation in S&T can be highly effective soft power instrument for a constructive foreign policy. H.R. 1736, the International Science and Technology Cooperation Act, would reconstitute a Committee on International Science, Engineering, and Technology under the National Science and Technology Council. A renewed and reinvigorated CISIT would facilitate the identification and building of international partnerships to meet any or all of these objectives by strengthening interagency coordination among the technical agencies and between the technical agencies and the Department of State. Specifically, H.R. 1736 would charge CISIT with planning and coordinating international S&T research and training partnerships, identifying opportunities for new international partnerships that serve both domestic S&T missions and foreign policy goals, and working with international S&T counterparts to establish such partnerships. Finally, the bill would require an annual report to Congress on CISIT's activities. Again, I want to thank my colleagues and our outstanding staff for their work on this. Thank the chairman again and would urge passage.
Thank you, Dr. Baird. I think passion was certainly the right term. You have spent a great deal of time. This is going to be a mark of yours. There'll be other marks, but this will be one mark in Congress, not just this bill, but what you've done in the area. Not only will it help to improve relations between countries, but many of the research goals we want to attain, particularly in the area of energy, are expensive. And it is tough to do them just with one nation. And here we both share the cost and the intellectual ability. So this is very good, and I thank you. And I now recognize Mr. Hall to present any remarks on the bill.
Mr. Chairman, as you've said and has been well said, international science and technology cooperation is an incredibly important issue, and one that presents not only great prospects and collaborations for scientific breakthroughs, but also cultivates promising diplomatic opportunities and sometimes even unpredicted challenges. I appreciate the work that the Research and Science Education Subcommittee has done on this issue, both under the leadership of Dr. Baird and Chairman Lipinski, and I'd like to yield the remainder of my time to Dr. Ehlers, the ranking member.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. Many of us may recall in the 1970s and 80s, we first began using science as part of diplomacy, and that played a key role in bringing the Soviet Union and the United States closer together, and eventually ended with the downfall of the Iron Curtain. I was surprised when I first came to Congress and Newt Gingrich asked me to write a science policy statement, since we hadn't had one since 1945. And when I began writing this, discovered that there is no one in the State Department who is representing science in dealing with other countries. We have managed to change that since, but it still needs strengthening. and identified and coordinating activities within the federal government which mutually benefit our scientific enterprise and our foreign policy goals is a valuable mission. And I am pleased the full committee is considering this legislation today. I would also like to acknowledge the work of the former subcommittee chair, Mr. Baird, for pursuing avenues that the Science and Technology Committee can use to support the intersection and expansion of science and diplomacy. Today's legislation reestablishes a committee under the National Science and Technology Council designed to coordinate and plan international science and technology activities. We have worked to ensure that high-level officials from the Department of State and the Office of Science and Technology Policy will provide the leadership necessary to make such collaborations more successful across the federal government. I look forward to seeing this in action. I also look forward to monitoring the fruit of this committee and will continue to support this bill as it moves closer to becoming law. I think we have a golden opportunity to return to the golden age of the 70s and 80s and really set up good cooperative efforts with many nations and bringing all the nations together as a result. With that, I will yield back.
Thank you, Dr. Ehlers. More importantly, thank you for your long history in working on this. You know, certainly if our majority and minority can work together on this bill, other countries can work together on important items too. So we've established that. Thank you. You've been very important here. Does anyone else wish to be recognized?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Robacher.
You got that right. Okay. I would just like to underscore the point that Mr. Ehlers has just made about cooperation. There are so many areas right now that we need to cooperate internationally in terms of the science community, and Mr. Baird is very involved with scientific research dealing with the oceans, and that's not something we should be doing on our own. That should be a joint effort with other countries, and we should look to other countries as playing an important role in whatever research we have with the ocean. Most people in this committee understand that I have a keen interest in near-Earth objects, and the fact that there may be some asteroid or comet or meteorite that might hit the Earth, and that we should be prepared for that. And in order to accomplish these ends, we need to be working with other countries. And I just would like to stress that essential point, and that's what this bill's all about. So just wanted to add that thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robacher. I heard Mr. Sensenbrenner the other day say that you were a near-Earth object. Does anyone else wish to be recognized? Then I ask unanimous consent. The bill is considered as read and open to amendment at any point. Without objection, so ordered. Are there any amendments?
You know, we make Jay Leno look serious.
If no, then the vote is on the bill, H.R. 1736. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I recognize, I recognize myself for a motion. I move that the committee favor report, H.R. 1736, as amended to the House with recommendation that the bill do pass. Furthermore, I move that the staff be instructed to prepare the legislative report and make necessary technical and conforming changes, and that the chairman take all the necessary steps to bring the bill before the House for consideration. Questions on the motion to report the bill favorably? Those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bill is favorably reported. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. Members will have 2 subsequent calendar days in which to submit supplemental, minority, or additional views on the measure. We will now consider H.R. 1709, the STEM Education Coordination Act of 2009, and I recognize myself to describe the bill. Science, technology, and engineering, and math, STEM education, is one of the most critical issues facing our nation today. Difficult economic times serve to remind us of the importance of education because we simply cannot compete in an increasingly global economy without a highly skilled 21st century workforce. Real improvements in STEM education requires commitment by the local, state, and federal level. States, local school districts, and teachers all over the nation are working in the trenches every day to improve the quality of STEM education for our students. And while our federal agencies all have worthwhile programs in place to share knowledge and passion for STEM with students, there is little communication or collaboration among the agencies with regard to their STEM education work. And it's become increasingly clear that rather than reinventing the wheel, agency by agency, there is a desperate need for a forum in which they can come together to discuss findings on the most effective research-based education programming, share tools for improved dissemination, create common metrics for evaluation, and avoid providing duplicate programs. The bill we are talking about today, H.R. 1709, the STEM Education Coordination Act of 2009, does just that. H.R. 1709 would establish a committee on STEM education under the National Science and Technology Council, charged with coordinating the STEM education programs and activities being funded through the federal mission agencies. Specifically, H.R. 1709 would charge the committee with developing a STEM education strategy to plan to specify and prioritize annual and long-term objectives and to develop common metrics to be used to assess progress of the programs and activities included by each agency. The bill also charges the committee with establishing and maintaining a comprehensive inventory of federally sponsored STEM education activities. This valuable database will include assessment of the various programs and activities and will help the STEM education community learn what the federal government has to offer. Finally, the bill will require an annual report to Congress including a description and funding level of the STEM education programs and activities at each of the participating federal agencies for both the previous and the current fiscal years. I would like to thank Ranking Member Hall, Dr. Lipinski, and Dr. Ehlers, who have joined me in co-sponsoring this good bipartisan bill, and urge my colleagues to support it. I now recognize Mr. Hall to present any remarks to the bill, on the bill.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. And STEM education is an issue that this committee takes very seriously. It will continue to do so. It's just as imperative that we be able to identify those STEM programs in the federal government that are effective and could serve as models for other agencies, as it is, I guess, for us to eliminate those programs that are duplicative and wasteful. This bill goes a long way in attaining both of these goals, and I'm pleased to be an original co-sponsor. Again, I'd like to yield the balance of my time to the distinguished ranking member of the Research and Science Education Subcommittee, Dr. Ehlers.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. And I strongly support the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math Education Coordination Act of 2009. I've been involved in STEM ed since roughly 1967 and taught for 20 years, and by choice taught courses aimed at non-scientists. My scientist colleagues thought I was crazy for being willing to do that, but they were delighted because it meant they didn't have to do it. But I felt one of the principal things I could do is educate teachers well enough so that they could teach well in the classroom, and that's how I took this path. One of the simplest ways to improve STEM education at this point is to keep better track of what the federal government is doing already to strengthen our innovation capacity through programs spread across the federal government, and there are many such programs. The Academic Competitiveness Council report of 2007 revealed a snapshot of STEM programs across the federal government, but the information it provided was only the tip of the iceberg. A sustained, comprehensive inventory of federal STEM programs remained elusive. Later in 2007, the National Science Board recommended the creation of a standing committee of the National Science and Technology Council with the responsibility of coordination of STEM education activities across the federal government. I am pleased that this recommendation will be a reality when the legislation before us today is signed into law. I believe that increased transparency will be helpful to STEM practitioners in the federal government and to the public. It is very important that we recognize that there is strength and diversity of STEM education programs. Each one may have a unique goal for improving STEM education. Conversely, programs with similar goals may reach a unique population or age group. Each one can successfully contribute to the broad goal of strengthening our nation's capacity for creativity and innovation. By shedding light on the various goals, methods, and successes of federal STEM education programs, we will be able to better support our economic and national security. The ultimate aim of all this coordination is, of course, to prepare superior materials and make them available to teachers across the nation who can, through the means provided by this, be alert and aware of what is happening in the developments of science and math teaching. And I believe this bill will go a long way towards helping with that. With that, I yield back.
Thank you, Dr. Ehlers, for your comments and, more importantly, your long work in this area. Does anyone else wish to be recognized?
Mr. Chairman,
Dr. Bartlett.
I'm a strong supporter of this bill. This year, China will graduate 7 times as many engineers as we graduate, and about half of our engineering graduates will be Chinese students. So this clearly is an issue of national concern. As important as this bill is, and as hard as we work on this, what we really need in our country is a cultural change. A society gets what it appreciates, and the reality is that as a society, we just don't appreciate academic achievers in these areas. Bright young boys are called geeks and nerds, and pretty girls won't date them. And bright girls have to play dumb to get a date. Is this dumb? This is really dumb. We need a cultural change, and let's hope that it starts here. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir. Be happy to yield.
I just want to make it clear on the record that I am a nerd, and I am proud of it. and I also married a beautiful woman. So,
Would the gentleman yield?
Happy to.
I better say the same thing on behalf of my spouse as well. And
Okay, with unanimous consent, you're all nerds. So, does anyone else wish to be recognized?
I'm a surfer, Mr. Chairman.
And a near-earth object. I ask unanimous consent that the bill is considered as read and open to the amendment at any point, and that the members proceed with amendments in the order of the roster. Without objection, so ordered. The first amendment on the roster is the amendment offered by the gentlelady from Texas. Are you ready to proceed with your amendment? The clerk will report.
I have an amendment at the desk.
Amendment to H.R. 1709, amendment number 041, offered by Ms. Eddie Bernice Johnson of Texas.
I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the reading. Without objection, so ordered. I recognize the gentlelady for 5 minutes to explain the amendment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gordon, and our ranking member and fellow members of the committee. My amendment to H.R. 1709 seeks to strengthen the coordinating committee that will be established within the National Science and Technology Council. As you know, this committee will be responsible for coordinating federal education programs in the area of science, technology, engineering, and math, that is commonly called STEM courses. The committee also will be asked to develop a 5-year strategic plan for STEM education. My amendment indicates that common metrics will be used to assess progress in achieving the objectives of the strategic plan. And in addition, the amendment states that the Director of Office of Science and Technology Policy should encourage and monitor the efforts of participating agencies to ensure that this strategic plan is developed and executed effectively. And further, the amendment asks the Office of Science and Technology Policy to monitor the agencies to ensure that the objectives of the strategic plan are met. In the report to Congress described in this bill, my amendment also states that descriptions of progress shall include a description of the outcome of any program assessments completed in the previous year. It is clear that the Office of Science and Technology Policy will take a greater role in coordinating our federal STEM education programs. And while I support this goal, I also believe it is of critical importance to measure the success of every dollar that we spend on STEM education. We must see quantifiable results
The accountability must exist for every single program. And members of this committee must answer to our constituents to ensure that federal investments are making a difference. It is my hope that the Office of Science and Technology Policy takes on this coordinating role that will also encourage agencies to do regular performance assessments of all programs that we support. It is the responsibility of this committee to ensure these programs are succeeding, for only when we measure for failure or success can we make informed judgments the programs for which we advocate. Thank you for considering this amendment, and I urge the support of it. I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. We certainly want to get a dollar's worth of benefit for a dollar spent, and this bill will help, or your amendment will help with that. Is there further discussion on the amendment? If no, the vote occurs on the amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the amendment is agreed to. The second amendment on the roster is an amendment offered by the gentlelady from Maryland. Ms. Edwards, are you ready to proceed with your amendment?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment to H.R. 1709, offered by Ms. Edwards of Maryland, amendment number 014.
I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the reading. Without objection, so ordered. I recognize the gentlelady for 5 minutes to explain her amendment.
I thank the chairman for his recognition and leadership on this committee. I call me a nerd because this committee handles about the most exciting and timely issues that really challenge each of us to be critical and strategic thinkers, and I think it's because of your oversight and leadership that we accomplish the work before us so effectively and efficiently and in bipartisan fashion and with a little bit of humor. Mr. Chairman, almost a year ago, the National Action Council for Minorities in Engineering, NACME, released a report revealing the number of minority students pursuing STEM degrees and careers has flattened out or even declined in recent years. The report noted that the percentage of bachelor's degrees in engineering awarded to African American students declined significantly from 1995 to 2005, from 3.3% down to 2.5%. It also found that while 3 key underrepresented minority groups, African Americans, Latinos, and Native Americans, constitute some 30% of overall undergraduate student population in the United States, they receive only about 12% of the degrees awarded in engineering. My amendment would require the committee formed by the bill to establish, update, and maintain an inventory of the participation by underrepresented minorities in federally sponsored STEM programs and activities. This amendment will ensure that this committee has solid and up-to-date information on minority participation. And once we receive the information, we can better assess the role this committee needs to take to increase minority participation in these programs. President Obama has made a significant commitment to science and technology, which includes a commitment to STEM programs. And we should take all steps necessary to make sure our minority students are not left behind in the field of science, math, and technology. This, in fact, I think will be our mark on the 21st century. And I read just this morning that according to the nation's report card by the National Assessment of Educational Progress, compared to 2004, there was no significant change in the gap in mathematics scores between white students age 9 and their black and Hispanic counterparts. We really need to close this gap. Again, I thank the chairman and the staff for working with me on this amendment and for your commitment to the STEM programs, and I urge my colleagues to support the amendment.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards. Clearly, when we look at improving our STEM education, there's no place we can get a better bump than with minorities and women. Ms. Woolsey and Ms. Johnson have been leaders in that for some time. This committee, I mean, I can witness ourselves as we try to have built a staff here, we've had difficulty in those areas. And so that's why one of the reasons that we have worked to try to increase the representation within minorities and women, and again, it's good for our country, and it's the right thing to do. Is there further discussion on the amendment? If no, the vote occurs upon the amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. The third amendment on the roster is an amendment offered by the gentlelady from Ohio, Ms. Fudge. Are you ready to proceed with your amendment? The clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment to H.R. 1709, amendment number 012, offered by Ms. Fudge of Ohio.
I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the reading. Without objection, so ordered. I recognize the gentlelady for 5 minutes to explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My amendment will direct the proposed committee under the National Science and Technology Council to describe in its annual report how we can better disseminate federally supported STEM resources throughout the country. This will ultimately nurture teacher talent, increase professionalism, and provide teachers with the new ideas to increase STEM participation. The demand for a STEM literate workforce will only increase in the future. The Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates that science and technology jobs will increase by 26%, compared to 15% for all other occupations from 2002 to 2012. Additionally, computer science and mathematics are projected to increase by 39%. The more support a teacher receives, the more organized, well-planned, and well-prepared they will be. We must increase awareness of what is available to train teachers in science, technology, engineering, and math, so we can provide our nation's future with better materials and ideas that improve lesson plans. In order to raise standards, prepare strong educators, and motivate more students to pursue STEM, it is imperative to effectively distribute the available federally supported resources for our nation's teachers. Children who are taught by educators with proper certification and mentored by professionals are more likely to succeed and prosper in an increasingly technologically advanced society. Mr. Chairman, I do ask for support of this amendment, and I yield back.
Is there further discussion on the amendment? If no, the vote occurs on the amendment. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the amendment is agreed to. Are there any other amendments? If no, then the vote is on the bill. H.R. 1709 is amended. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I now recognize myself to offer a motion. I move that the committee favorably report H.R. 1709 as amended to the House with the recommendation that the bill do pass. Furthermore, I move that the staff be instructed to prepare the legislative report and make necessary technical and conforming changes, and that the chairman take all necessary steps to bring the bill before the House for consideration. The question is on the motion to report the bill favorably. Those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. The bill is favorably reported. Without objection, the motion is reconsidered, is laid upon the table. The members will have 2 subsequent calendar days in which to submit supplemental, minority, or additional views on the measure. And let me point out to everyone, particularly our newer members, we won't file this bill until next week, and so if any of you would like to become co-sponsors of any of these bills, we welcome that. I think you should all go home, take credit for these. These are good bills, and once again, I hope you're not disappointed that we're not arguing and fighting and having a big rumpus here, but that doesn't mean that these aren't good, thoughtful bills. They went through the regular order. A lot of that was taken care of at the subcommittee level, and so again, we welcome all to be co-sponsors, and I want to thank the members for their attendance. This concludes our markup.
We folks that are on it, we have the same damn right to get off of it if we want.
Yes, you do.
At the same time.
Only.